Hi folks, this is Adam's Autos and I'm Adam. So in the last video I spoke about a brief history of the Triumph Thunderbird, how it came to be, and my 13 years with this bike, which has overwhelmingly been great. It's done everything I could think of and more, and yeah, it's been wonderful. However, now a few years ago I attended a friend's birthday party up in Chelmsford. I was going to take her out in the back of this, but she was way too wasted by the time I got there, so we'd never done it. On the way back, I heard some chinking coming from the cam chain side. Now, the cam chain had actually started sounding a bit noisy. I thought, well, look at the clock, it's done over 50,000. And when I looked online, the cam chains are supposed to be done around 50,000. So I thought, well, now's the time to get it done. So we got the kit, and that's when the fun and games started. So I took it down to my mate Al. You know, I've been talking about a lot with my Yamaha. I get the cam chain done. It's a standard affair. It's relatively easy. I mean, the cam chain's there, so it's not a particularly long or, you know, a particularly arduous job on these. So yeah, took the cover off, and we were presented with some bits. There were some bits in the bottom which used to be the cam chain guide that sits there. We took the rocker cover off. The chain, I mean, it was lucky it didn't skip a tooth or anything, because a chain, you could do that, it was really loose. So oh great, okay, so we've now gone from a standard cam chain and tensioner replacement. Are you moving of your own accord? Yeah, you are. There we go. I know you want to go out again, but you're going to have to be patient. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically what happened. That yeah, the cam chain was knackered really. So we ordered a cam chain guide as well as a chain and a tensioner. And unfortunately, you can't drop the cam chain guide in from the top. Guess what you have to do? You have to take the head off, because the guide sits there in a little groove. So it takes the head off. That groove had pretty much disappeared, because where the chain was slapping against the casing or the casting, it had sort of lapped the metal over where the guide was. So that then meant that had to be dremeled. So it was done. It was all put back together. A massive cost to me. It was around 1,100 quid by the time I got all this. The bill came to about 1,100 quid. I mean, you know, so we're talking the labour, the engineering bits. Not only that, but I asked for the valve clearances to be checked. So I thought, well, you know, when you throw it all back together, I want it, you know, we might as well do all those jobs while they're there. So we threw it back together, did a little run, dropped the oil out, because obviously there's any filings that's come adrift. So yeah, done a little run, dropped the oil out, put some new oil in, done another little run, done an oil change again. Yeah, and it seemed to be okay. And then one day I noticed that, I didn't see it near, I mean, this isn't from that, but this is what I saw. I could see little red, actually I don't think I can get a rub in there, but I could see some liquid at the back there. At first I thought it could possibly have come from the red seal that was around the head gasket. So that's my initial thoughts. But I went and spoke to Alistair anyway. I said, look, this is happening. And he went, no, it won't be the head gasket. It won't be from the head gasket itself. It's leaking. So he took it back in, went for another go. Got the head skims, new engine bolts, all this sort of thing. Put it back together. I literally had it back for a couple of weeks. I noticed it had started seeping again. But at the point I noticed it seeping was when I took it out for a little, well, I went to take it out for a little run, only I never got that far. Pulled out of my drive, up my road. I was living at the time down Westcliff on one of those one-way roads, if you know Westcliff. You got cars parked to either side. The traffic was stationary. I can't get past on a bike because there's no, it's just too narrow. I get hit up the backside. Some young lad in a Fiesta decided to use the back end of my bike to stop with. So, yeah, it was gone in. I lost my rag a little bit, understandably, I would say. As I say, I literally got us back on the road in a couple of weeks and this happened. It was only slight damage, to be honest. The mudguard was pushed in, number plate broken. Funnily enough, the light was as well. I'd only just bought this chrome unit, and these are like rocking all crap to get hold of, for one thing, and B, when they do show up on eBay, etc., people want the earth. And understandably so, it's a very rare item now. So, yeah, that happened. And it was like, oh, don't go for insurance, new driver and all the rest of it. And I was really angry. I said, look, the problem is, I said, I don't know what to do about the mudguard. This is a 30-year-old bike at the end of the day. It's been long since out of production. Triumph don't make, the mudguards and the tanks and that anymore. So you'd have to try and find it second hand. And not only that, but there's several different models of Thunderbird. You got the Thunderbird 900, which this is. You've got the Adventure, you've got the Legend. Then you've got the Sport. They've all used different mudguards. So I'm at a loss of what to do. So I said, I'll try and see what I can do. I went and had a chat with my mate, and he said, he said, just put it for insurance. He said, at the end of the day, he knows a new driver, but he should have been looking where he was going. So that was true. So I contacted my insurance company. They've come and collected her. They actually gave me a loan bike, a Honda Rebel 1100. Now, if you go on this channel, I'll put the link up here. You can see my review of it. And I ended up having that for a few months. So this was away for a few months. So I'm now going back to 2024. All this happened. So, yeah, 2024, this is sort of, about 14 months. Yeah, I'd say, I think it was May this happened, May 24th. They've come and collected it, taken it away, given me the Honda Rebel. And that was when the fun and games started with the other guy. The first thing he claimed was that he didn't do it. So, fortunately, I'd taken photos at the time. My insurance company asked me if I had any photos. I said, yes, I'll email them over to you. The only annoying thing is you couldn't really see any damage on his car from the photos because, there wasn't really. It was the damage to the back of this. So I'd sent them over, and then I think the assessors looked at his car and deemed that there was marks on his, or there was damage to his car that matched what he'd done to me. So this guy then changes his story and says that I rolled back into him. I'm like, I just said to my guy, my insurance company, I said, what is he on? Because at this point we're possibly looking to go into court. Not just for that, but the other party was querying why I needed a loan bike, because obviously the horrendous cost of a loan bike for that amount of time. And technically, yes, I had, I've got two cars and I had my Africa Twin. But as I pointed out to my insurance guy, I said, look, during the better months, I want to be on this. All right? I don't want to be driving around. This is like my primary transport. For one thing, to make the most of the decent weather. But secondly, as much as I love my Africa Twin, this is a smaller bike. It's easier to cut through traffic. It's smaller and lighter and narrower than my Africa Twin, so it's an easier bike to ride around a local area as such. So anyway, that was that. The insurance company then come back and said eventually that they've basically admitted, or rather the insurance company, I think they might have spoken to their client and said, look, you're talking claptrap, stop it now, this is a payout, which is what they did. They offered me roughly the market rate for one of these, which I agreed to. and I then had the option of I could either take what they offered me or drop it a few £100 and I could get the bike back. So that was the option I went for. I got her back. She was in a poor state. You know, the alley was all furred. I mean, I was still, even the back wheel, I still haven't got round to cleaning up. You know, it was covered in crap. It wouldn't start. The battery was knackered, so on and so on. So yeah, got it back, cleaned it up. Obviously, but we've still got this head gasket issue to deal with. So I then had to take it back to Alice there for a third time lucky. And anyway, when we had the head off, he had a closer look at the block facing, and there was some imperfections in it. How that come about, I don't know, but there were. So the option then was to either possibly get a new block or a new upper block bit thing, whatever you want to call it, or get that one skimmed, but you've then got to do the pots as well. Massive involved process. I said the other option is we can try well seal, and I said, look, we'll go down the well seal route. If it works, happy days. If it doesn't, then the option's on me to either sell the bike or maybe look at, you know, another engine or stripping that one completely, which I didn't really fancy doing, to be honest. So yeah, it did that, put it all back together with the well seal, rode it back here. I think get an issue with the starter motor. Yeah, something's going on with the starter. It's going in. He tried to start it, it went in reverse, and it was pumping petrol into the crank. So, it was just one thing after another now. Well, anyway, I did notice that the coolant's seeping out again. So the well seal didn't work, and that left two options: sell it, or do I get another engine? And what do we have here? 450 quid secured this engine. So yeah, so that is where we are at now. The engine now needs to be pulled out and swapped over, and I've got to swap all the Brightwork because that is a later engine. Ironically, that one's done about 50,000, so I'm going to need to do a cam chain. But learning the lessons are for this one. And the funny thing is, I spoke to other owners of these early Hinckleys who were still running the same cam chain at a higher mileage. So just to be me, I must have been jinxed. But anyway, so that's where we're at. We've got an engine swap to do on this, and obviously swap over all the alley bits onto that, because that is a later engine with the chrome faces, and it doesn't have the Triumph indent. But yeah, so that's basically where we are at. And yeah, and so this is, although it's my bike, this is Project 2, Operation Thunderbird. Sounds quite good, that, doesn't it? Right, well, I've waffled on for quite enough time. Got any comments, suggestions, etc., etc., drop them down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. So I'm going to leave it there. I've just dropped my DJ gear off. I'm going to go back home now, put my feet up and do some stuff on the computer. And yeah, I don't know when the next video will be on this. Probably when I've got a little bit of time to myself, I'll start the strip down, and you guys can watch and laugh and all the rest of it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me. Love and light. God bless you all.